Welcome to Transform Now, a podcast focused on intelligent automation and brought to you by SS&C Blue Prism. On this program, we talk about how organizations globally are rethinking the way they operate, utilizing process orchestration and AI-enabled digital workers to free up humans to do the work that matters most. We also share insights and tips on how you can embrace this new way of working and unleash your full potential. Let's get into the show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Transform Now. I'm Brad Hairston.
And I'm Michael Marchuk.
And this is the weekly Pulse Check, taking a look at what's going on in the world of automation and AI. Let's take a look at the news. The first article we're looking at today comes from MSN, and it's titled, Millennial and Gen Z Small Business Leaders Aren't Just Embracing AI, they're using it differently. So, Michael, we've had a lot of articles we've taken a look at that deal with generational differences in terms of how the generations are responding to AI, what they're doing with it, what they think about it. What did you think about this specific article and what it had to say?
Well, I thought it was interesting. We talked about this before in terms of generational adoption in regards to AI specifically. But this is looking at how businesses that are operated by people of specific generations are leveraging AI, or if they're leveraging AI to do the work that they're asking AI to do. And so, what's funny is that they portrayed both, say, millennials and Gen Zers against sort of the boomers and the Gen Xers. And in both cases, they said that all groups find that there are specific applications where AI are beneficial and they want to use them, regardless of what class they are in, but also regardless of which generational group they're in. Mm-hmm. They also found that some choose not to use AI. That includes Gen Z, where they said up to 4% of them, they choose not to use tools that are AI empowered in favor of what they call them dumb tools. Mm-hmm. These are tools that don't have AI embedded in them. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting too. But I guess that the way that they're going about it is they're looking at this both classes in terms of the older generations versus younger. They're actually making a informed decision. They're not just poo-pooing the whole fact of, oh, this is AI and I'm older boomer and I don't want to deal with this kind of stuff. It's not for me. They're actually looking at the benefits of it because I believe no matter which generation you're in, they're actually seeing benefits and they're trying to choose how to apply those benefits in the most effective way for their business. So I thought it was an interesting take on it. It wasn't just, hey, old people don't use technology, young people use a lot of technology, and that's the end of it. So I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, just in your family and your neighborhood and other friends that you have, what you're observing, but I'm definitely observing some Gen Z, some millennials who haven't really moved aggressively toward AI. And one family member in particular that I made kind of a passionate plea to really take advantage of it, dig into it, learn it, because this person's in a profession that we know is being impacted by AI quite a bit. So I think for depending on your occupation, the industry you're in, some I think should be moving toward it faster than others, just to get ahead of it, just to learn it, especially while there's so many tools and resources that are available for free. I really think those that understand it and know it and can use it and can talk to it are going to have an advantage going forward. And you don't want to be the one that your boss comes to you and says, hey, we're going to start using Gen AI. And you're like, well, what is Gen AI? You're probably the next thing your boss says to you is, hey, how's that resume doing? You need to probably brush that off and get it going. So I'm being dramatic, but you get the idea. I don't think it's true of all. I mean, this article cites a survey that says 60% of millennial and Gen Z business owners are already using AI to some degree. So I think the lion's share of them are doing it, but I'm just noticing that in some cases, they're not going that direction yet, or they have a negative opinion of it based on things they've heard and read and seen. So it's kind of different person by person.
It could also be based on expectations too. I mean, they may have used some really awesome AI-enabled tool, and then the tool of choice for some other activity, which purported to have AI, maybe wasn't as powerful or did not do what they expected it to do. And therefore they felt, maybe we'll go back to the quote unquote old-fashioned way of doing things because it worked.
Yeah, you got it. So our next article delves into just where are we in terms of the AI evolution, and how close are we to artificial general intelligence? This article comes from an online resource called Tom's Guide, and the article reads, OpenAI outlines plan for AGI, 5 steps to reach superintelligence. So this article had a lot of detail, and it's focused on, kind of 5 levels that OpenAI has defined and put forward, almost like their long-term strategy. This is kind of these are the levels that we are planning to go through, and the goal of which is to get to artificial general intelligence, which is a form of AI that can perform better than humans across every task. So what do you think the article, what are some of the key points the article brought out about where we are against those 5 levels that OpenAI has defined?
Right. So let's cover the 5 levels first, just so we can make sure we are kind of level set. So the first level they indicated was chatbots, where there's sort of the natural language conversation capabilities, where it can understand natural language and then reprocess that and spit out natural language at the same time, to respond based on a predefined kind of response. A level 2 they call reasoners, and this is an AI with human-level problem-solving skills across a broad range of topics. That's kind of where we're at right now in terms of when we ask ChatGPT something specific. It says, "Hey, listen, I've got a broad range of topics. It's been trained across a whole lot of data." And it can provide some problem-solving skills related to the training that it has at this point. Now, where we're going with this is starting at level 3 now, where we talk about agents. And agents are AI systems that can take actions independently from human instruction. So I'm hungry, I want to get Chinese food, and your AI then would take the next steps, which is to order your favorite dish from the local Chinese restaurant and have DoorDash or some other delivery service bring it to you, right? That would be the discussion from an agent perspective.
Yeah.
Level 4 then goes another step further. These are innovators. These are AI that can aid in the invention of new ideas and contribute to human knowledge. So think about drug discoveries, or perhaps even new chips that are designed by AI to support developments of AI. So there's lots of interesting ideas of how that could be happening. And then the 5th level this is where they started talking about this AGI capability, the general intelligence, where it's AI that's capable of doing all of the work of an organization independently. So it's basically AI running the organization, whatever that might be, without human intervention required. So those are the 5 levels that they're talking about, and sort of where we're at now. As I said, like we're on level 2, moving towards level 3 very rapidly. That's like kind of on the next horizon here. OpenAI CEO kind of hinted that ChatGPT 5, the GPT-5 version, may be more agent-based. So we're kind of looking at that next step. When we start getting out to 4 and 5 in terms of the innovations that are required to get to there, I suspect, especially based on the spend and the horsepower required to power up all these new systems, there needs to be some sort of leap forward in how we're approaching this, because I don't think there's enough energy or chips available at this point to be able to get to that AGI level, unless something dramatic changes in how we approach the large language models and training data and whatnot.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I mean, when you hear about the levels and agentic workflows, that's being talked about a lot. I talked to a guy this week who's with a company advising companies on agentic workflows. So you're already seeing that. But boy, that seems further out. That a lot of companies that I've talked to are still just trying to sort through the basic level Gen AI. They're still trying to figure out the right use cases to attack and what models they should use, and should they go cloud, or should they use their own or use open source. I mean, I'm just not a naysayer, but I feel like we're a long way away from embracing autonomous agents. But I can see us getting there at some point, and then the innovators is even a further stretch. So yeah, it's an interesting framework that OpenAI has put forward. I wonder if the other big providers like Anthropic and Google and so forth, if they have their own segmented strategy or model for where things are going. I would bet they do, and it's probably similar, but yeah, I think we've still got a ways to go. Now a ways to go might be 6 months. we might be all the way to level 5 in 6 months. Who knows? Things are going so much faster than we thought. But it's an interesting article, and yeah, I think OpenAI is interesting in just how they come out and they put stuff like this out there. I think they want to be known as the ones that they want to set the standard. They want to lay the foundation for where this sector is going to go. They don't want other people doing it. They want to be the ones doing it. They view themselves as the leaders in that space. So I guess we give them kudos on that. Well, our last article, Michael, is from the blog of Ethan Malik. It's called One Useful Thing. Ethan, we've referenced his work before. He's a University of Wharton professor who's has a lot of expertise in this area. He writes, he presents, he's written a book. I get a lot of value from reading his posts. I think his perspective is really, really interesting. And this was a blog post, recent one, that is titled "The Best Available Human Standard." And he's talking in this about, what is the most pragmatic way for us to decide when AI should be used to solve a problem. And this is kind of an interesting way he goes about it. So break it down for us, Michael, and tell us what you think about Ethan's thoughts on this.
So his viewpoint on it, I thought was interesting. We most likely have all used ChatGPT or some form of generative AI to ask a question or to find out some information. And he put this to a practical use in terms of, if we were to perhaps maybe do a presentation, or we are founding a company and we're trying to get funding and we want to find out which pitch would resonate best with investors. Generally speaking, his viewpoint is, well, you'd likely ask the best available human who could give you some feedback on that. So in the cases where people are in groups who have no other co-founders, or who have VC friends or whatnot, they may end up having some really good connections to be able to ask that best available human the questions about their presentation to get really good feedback and be able to adjust those presentations. Whereas there may be others who the best available human is your mom or dad, and they may have never pitched to a venture capitalist before in their life. And so while they are human and they are available, you're basically ranking them, of the two people I know, these are the two best available people I have, and therefore I'll ask one of them and likely get a very poor answer. So yeah, his identification here is that, well, now we have AI who can step in. So instead of a best available human, you have a best available resource to ask. Instead of just, you may be kid in your basement thinking, I've got a great idea for something. And if this could be a wonderful idea, maybe I could pitch it to somebody, but I don't know where to start. Now you have a place to go to ask and have AI guide you in not only the process, but also provide feedback on some of the pitch that you might be trying to go toward,
right?
To see how it might land with potential investors.
Yeah.
And so this gives folks who may not have a best available or maybe no available human available. Think about folks who are in places where they're best available. Maybe their dad's been a journeyman or a pole, line climber to fix electric poles his whole life. And you're asking him about something computer related. He may not have any idea. And so as much as you want to trust his opinion on something, he may not be able to give you a good one. So his whole idea is really good. Like, hey, listen, we have these new resources that we didn't have before, which now opens up opportunities for folks to be able to ask these best available resources and get the information or advice that they couldn't have gotten before.
Right. And I like the way he phrases the question, because he starts by saying, would the best available AI in that moment, in that place, do a better job of solving the problem than the best available humans? So a human may be available, and it may be a human that you trust and is a very smart person and what have you. But if you can't say definitively that this AI would not solve the problem better than that human, then you probably should take advantage of it. I mean, the accessibility is so high that we almost can't afford not to think about using it in those situations. And he also goes on to say in his blog that for many people or people groups, the best available human is nobody. They don't have the human option. They don't have the people either available or that have the right expertise. And now with Gen AI made available to billions around the world at no cost currently, you've potentially given them a way to take advantage of technology in new and innovative ways. And as Will.i.am is apt to say, it's the great leveler. It's gonna change cultures. It's gonna bring a bright light to some parts of the world that have never really had good access to information. So we will see, but interesting article. And that's all the time we have for our Pulse Check today. Thanks for joining us. Please join us for our other podcast each week that we release with a really interesting guest. And we'll see you next week talking about what's in the news. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Transform Now, the podcast from SS&C Blue Prism. You can find all of our episodes on your favorite podcast channel, as well as YouTube. To stay on top of the hottest topics in the world of intelligent automation, subscribe now. The future of work is here.